Meeting to order. Start with an invitation.
Okay. Father, we thank you for another day. We thank you that you are faithful. You're mindful of everything that concerns us. And we give you this meeting. We give you our community. We thank you for its leaders. And we just ask your blessing on all that we do and say. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I'd also like to maybe have a moment of silence to remember our colleague's husband, Mike Wentz, and all the contributions he's given to our community. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Move on to approval of the agenda. We have some changes.
We do. We need to add an action item related to changes to our demolition policy, and then we also need to add an executive session for confidential business matters.
I move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Hash, seconded by Commissioner Lamberts to approve the agenda as amended. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to public comments. I don't have the verbiage, but public comments, anyone can come and speak for a matter of 2 minutes. Are there any public comments? Seeing none, we'll move into our action agenda, the minutes of the February 2nd, 2022 meeting.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Belden, seconded by Commissioner Hash to approve the minutes. All those, is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to the appropriation ordinance number 3. I had a question on the Brown grant. Is that the final payment, that 14,000, or like
It was until we got an email and they realized that there were a few windows that were missed. So we're checking to make sure that those were in the original bid. If they were, then they'll go back and add those on. And if not, then they'll come back and ask for more to be able to do that later.
Move to approve appropriation ordinance number 3.
Been moved by Commissioner Lambert, seconded by Commissioner Belden to approve appropriation ordinance number 3. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to the time extension for the CDBG demolition grant.
Am I supposed to do this one?
I'll let you, Bruno.
Lost my place here. Basically, this is the demolition grant, actual demolition got started late. It was supposed to, the initial bidder, Western Cells, intended on starting before Christmas and taking 45 days. And then COVID got a couple of his guys, and then a fire happened in his community and he helped with that. And then they decided to just wait through the holidays. Well, anyway, there is no contract deadlines today. So we want to extend that until April 4th, I think it is, Monday to 5 p.m. And that'll give him basically 45 days, 35 working days to get done. He started yesterday, actually about a week ago, but he started on the first project and the house is down today. I checked today this morning, it was mostly down and being loaded up and all that. So contract and letting people work it.
I'd move to authorize the mayor to sign the time extension with Western Sales Company with a new completion date scheduled for April 4th, 2022 at 5 p.m.
Second.
So motion by Commissioner Lambert, a second by Commissioner Hash for the time extension for the CDBG demo grant. The new completion date of April 4th, 2022 at 5 p.m. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to the resolution 2022-2129 personnel handbook changes.
Normally, we come to you with these changes in the fall, and which we did last November, I think. But since then, a few other things have come up, and I'll go through those. There's basically about 4 changes. The first one is, police department always does background checks. The rest of us don't. I have heard from my colleagues, it's a very good idea. You never know what's in someone's background, and you're not allowed to ask either. So we would like to add that in there. There is an online company that can do it. It's $30 each, and it's just immediate results, and you can go like 7 years back. And so we would like to add that in there. If it's a policy, then we can just follow it for everyone and not pick and choose. And then under section 6, which is the leave section, there are a few things. We have run into some issues where new hires have needed to take some sick leave, and the way it is set up, they have to take it with no pay. It was always kind of an issue, but COVID has kind of made it worse because in many times they are ordered to stay home. It's out of their control. They wouldn't be able to use the full 6 months worth. You get 8 hours a month. They would have to use it as they accrue it. So after they've been here a month, they would have 1 day they could use. And we thought maybe go ahead and let them use one of the personal days as well. And after six months, they automatically get it anyway. So it's not like it's something they normally wouldn't get. And then let's see. Oh, yes. Yes, the vacation. We have run into one department, maybe 2, that have had to lose their vacation time due to staff shortage, and we've all had it over the last couple of years. And if they have maxed out, depending on how long you've been here, it's either 160 or 200 hours is maxed out. And many of them are not able to take them. This is mostly the shift people. My staff, that kind of thing, have been able to use a few hours here or there, whatever. But we've had some that have had to lose it, which isn't really fair. We have it written so that it can't really be abused. It can't be used month after month after month. But at least it lets them get something for it, if they can't take off for whatever reason like that. It has to be, their department head has to deny the time off due to the staff shortage. That's mainly the only way that can happen. So we would like to add that in there. That used to be in the handbook several years ago, I think before my time. And then the only other thing was just added that you can't use it before it's been accrued. It does say that under the vacation time, under D, and just wanted to add it in there since the sick leave is the same way. You have to actually have it on the books before you can take it. But we would ask that those be approved now rather than waiting until next November. We're having a lot of new people right now, and that would certainly help them for sure.
And these all seem like very employee-friendly moves, and in the spirit of making it a more attractive workplace, none of that seems outlined. I move to approve resolution 2022-2129.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Lambert, seconded by Commissioner Hash to approve resolution 2022-2129. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to resolution 2022-2130, the demo policy amendment.
Okay. Well, actually, this is the resolution authority. This is actually a red line copy or added red lines to our existing resolution of our demo program policy. And about a year ago, we had a situation, it's happened 2 or 3 times, as the memo said, over our history, where we get a fire damaged home and we receive insurance proceeds, and they can be significant. And then that building will qualify for the demo program. And we've always qualified them, and then the owner ends up with a reimbursement from us for the demo program, and they get their holdings, insurance proceed holdings back. And last year, when we were doing one, Mr. Lambert's asked if we look into the policy and see if we could word it so that that wouldn't qualify. So this is what Amy came up with a year ago. She sent it to me. I looked at my response. I sent it, looked fine, and then it died from there. I don't know, COVID, guys, we got overwhelmed with COVID about that time, and other policies were coming into place when we were having special meetings about masks, mandates, and things like that. And I think it just got lost in the shuffle. I really don't know if we can do this just by adding this line, if we have to do official resolution, but we need to get this done because I've got another holding that I just got on a firehouse 2 days ago. So because you have the power to accept or not into the program, no matter what the situation. So
Can you
this
explain,
is just to make it clearer.
can you explain like the steps? So somebody's house burns down, the insurance then goes, what
The
happened?
insurance is supposed to contact the state insurance agent. I can't think of that. Yes, the insurance commissioner, and they have on file our policy that we can receive up to 15% maximum insurance holdings after all other liens and mortgages have been taken care of. But that only kicks in if the damages are 75% of the actual value. Then we get 15% of that to hold until such time as they make it safe to our standards again. The caveat is there, it used to be within 30 days, we had to have to set a public hearing date and condemn the house and start the process. The state now gives us 45 days to do that. A lot of times you can forgo the public hearing process, which is an expense and a lot of time and effort. If the owner agrees to go ahead and just tear it down or get started on it or get a permit to fix it up, then you can just hold that money because the process has started. So you don't have to force it to start.
Mhm.
But then you can just hold that money. We just released a $10,000 check on a 2-year-old damage project down on First Street. The guy just didn't do it for 2 years, but we held that money. So
And the reason that we hold it is in case they choose not to proceed with demolition, then we use that money to demolish the property and make sure it's made safe again.
it's a tool for that the state allows the cities to use so that somebody just doesn't walk away from it and just leave a mess, basically. And but anyway, yeah, there was a few cases over time and they do qualify. I remember when the first time it happened to me, Larry Uri, who wrote this policy, I believe, I asked him about that. I said, you know, they're gonna get a $10,000 insurance check back from us plus a $4,000 rebate. And his answer was it qualifies. Well, times change, attitudes change, perceptions change. Now we're looking into it. This is the wording that come up.
So
We can tweak it, you know, it's something that can be looked at if you feel the need. But I think it covers what we were initially looking at that we don't want. If we're holding, the one downside of this is, for instance, right now, I've got a check for $6,000 on a project that has some damages, and that might not pay for the demo. You know, if he walks away, if he decided to go away, you know, we're holding them 30 days or 60 days after the condemnation hearings. Then we put it out to bid and, you know, it could be the price of tearing that down could be $8,000. And then we're on the hook for $2,000 somehow. So we bill it back to the property, it gets put on taxes, it doesn't get paid, and then 35 years later, it gets sold. It's that old thing of we hardly ever recover what we got into it. You just try to do the best you can, eliminate the loopholes where you can, see if you can make things better.
the other component to this amendment is a time frame. So it establishes a time frame of when people have to get started with the work and when they have to complete the work. And I think that that's important for tracking process for us to make sure that the work is actually completed in a timely manner. So we would ask for your approval of resolution 2022-2130. And what that resolution will do, will approve the amendments to the policy language that's related to the demolition program.
So this achieves what I was hoping for, is that we wouldn't, and all, part of my motivation for that was essentially to preserve money in the demolition program so that we could do more with it to maximize our opportunities, knowing that somebody's being reimbursed from an insurance perspective, and so for somebody not to make money on this at the city's expense, so that we could keep the money to use for other projects, which might help cover that $2,000 overage.
I'll move to approve resolution 2022-2130.
Second.
There's been a motion by Commissioner Belvin, a second by Commissioner Lambert to approve resolution 2022-2130. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will now move into an executive session for confidential business data. Do I have a motion?
We can do reports first.
Oh, sure.
Let's stick around.
We'll move into our manager's report first.
Eric's not here right now, but I just wanted to share with you, I think you've seen the press release that the city was awarded $560,000 in a CDBG grant. We were not expecting that at all. We figured that because the alley project and the demolition grant were both going simultaneously, that we would not be eligible for this CDBG grant. So we were very thankful that we received that. It will help us toward the purchase of a $1.2 million ladder truck. We already were awarded $30,000 from a Dan Hansen grant toward that, and we're waiting to hear back from USDA. There's a wide range of possible grant funding through USDA that we could be eligible for, so we don't want to share what that amount could be. But then whatever the remainder is, we would need to enter into a lease purchase with USDA rural development in order to accept those grant funds from USDA. So we're just kind of waiting and holding on that for now, but it's exciting nonetheless that we can stretch our local dollars further. Busy week last Wednesday, I went out to North Central Kansas Technical College to do some recruitment at the career fair. They brought back the career fair, and we were thinking it may be fruitful for some of our frontline positions for some of our departments, such as utilities or public works. And it was a fruitful. I got to talk about 20-25 students, specifically visited with a couple that are interested in coming back our way and had no idea all of the wide variety of work that a city employee does. And so that was really exciting to get to share with them. Thursday, went to Wichita State University, where the KACM group is holding their winter seminar. Really good to get back together with a lot of the city managers from around the area, listen to some very good motivational speakers for kind of a winter refresh, I guess. And a lot of discussion about recruitment and retention of employees and creating a culture and a workplace that people want to work. So that was really good information gained from there. Another kind of craziness that happened on Friday night, we received information from the League of Kansas Municipalities that Senate Bill 87 was getting some traction, potentially poised for hearing sometime this week. And so we did contact our legislators with updated testimony on Senate Bill 87. That is the sales tax bill that began in Atchison County that was asking for, if passed, it would allow counties to unilaterally cancel their current countywide sales tax, which cancels the way the funding formula is currently done. And that, as part of that funding formula, City of Concordia receives nearly about $500,000 a year from the county 1% sales tax. And it's based on a formula of assessed valuation as well as population. So there's a combination formula there. If passed, this bill would do away with that formula. Then counties could unilaterally stop the sales tax, then they could put to vote a new sales tax. And if enacted, the new sales tax, if we wanted a piece of that, we would have to go request that from the county and sign an interlocal agreement with them for them to share a portion of that with us. Cities are opposed. Kansas Association of Counties was opposed. Then we talked to them as part of the league governing body. They said they would not support the bill as written. And then just last week, they changed their position back and now are in support of it. So anyway, we have contacted our legislators. They know that it could be detrimental to the city of Concordia. To illustrate, we get, I can't remember the exact numbers that we came up with, but in round figures, we were right at about 40% of our general fund revenue comes from sales tax total, city and county. And a little over 40% goes out just for public safety, police, fire, dispatch, EMS service. So if we were to lose a portion of our sales tax, it would be very detrimental to our general fund and our operations that serve our general public. We'd have to make up for that somehow or cut services. So really, really important for us to keep things whole as much as possible. And then finally, we have received applications, several applications for the public works director position in the last week or so. And so we do anticipate working through a formal hiring process that will be a fairly public process, similar to what we did with the police chief. We talked about today, and we'll kind of reduce that scope a little bit, so it'll all be condensed into one day. But we're looking at March 3rd as the date to hold that formal process. So you'll be getting more information later on how we plan to run that. That's all I have to report.
Any other staff reports?
Just want to let you be aware of something you might hear a little bit about in the next month or two, a potential project. I was approached by Coach Gillen of the college about looking back into turf in the baseball infield on the big field. Some possible donors, probably the best way to say it, have come forward and shown the interest. He'll be kind of headlining this whole fundraising process. Both a little bit of help from the city, a little bit of help from the high school, and some of his big donors. It's starting to look a little bit more possible. So we're getting back into those strings of looking at possibilities for that here in the next couple months. There's 3 or 4 grants that he's going after, the main ones, and then some of the bigger donors have shown interest. So I think for a pretty small request that we kind of talked about from the city for a big project like that, it's a lot more doable these days now that we're looking at these other avenues. So you might hear some chatter over the next couple of months.
Will we need to be the vehicle since it's our property for granting?
It's the joint. I mean, we're going at it together. I know their name will probably be on some of the grants.
Okay.
We've talked a little bit about that as well. We don't want to block any of our other projects. So we're just kind of so preliminary right now that we're still ironing some of those details out, but we will be going for some of those grants. Which you are.
Any other staff reports? Now we can go into executive session. Do I have a motion?
I move that the city commission recess into executive session to discuss confidential business data, trade secrets of business, KSA 754319B4 with Amy Lang and Justin Farrell in attendance, and to reconvene in the city commission chamber at 6:10.
There's been a motion by Commissioner Lambert, a second by Commissioner Belden to recess into executive session until 6:10 for confidential business data. Is there any further discussion? Not all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say sign. Motion carries.
Did have a question.
Oh, shoot.
Comments, if I could.
Commissioner comments. Sorry, so-
I'm trying to shut up.
Are you trying to investigate?
We didn't want to interrupt.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to say again.
Well, it's okay. Go ahead. Yeah, we'll go with Commissioner
So
comments.
excited.
Let's go, Jeff.
Someone approached me asking about the demolition of our West 6th Street properties and wanted to know if there'd be measures taken to prevent migration of whatever current inhabitants might have taken up residency in those houses to get into either the Brown Grand or neighboring homes or businesses. And
Yes.
rats, raccoons, possums, perhaps snakes, certainly bugs. There's been a lot of messes that are going to go a lot of different places that we don't want them to. City property, Brown Grand, and then residential church areas around. So
Reasonable measures have been taken Interior properties have been disturbed such that we are confident that there should not be a problem. We believe places have been vacant long enough that any food source that would attract such pests is gone.
Can we line up all the fire and police department with BB guns and pea shooters to make sure that
There's an ordinance.
line of
against
defense?
Discharging firearms in city limits.
Firearms, but what about BB guns?
You cannot,
That's defined.
you can't do it.
Would it be prudent to identify a pause or an addendum to said policies such that we would be able to preserve such a historic property as the Brown Grand and any neighboring, in which city commissioners might be able to participate as well?
Commissioners, if you would like us to look at a temporary ordinance adjustment, I will defer to our city attorney. We'd be happy to work
I'm looking
something
at a
out.
type of a vacation from the ordinance, so.
I got a couple of baseball bats, Jeff.
That'd be
I've got a funny story about the first time I came home from a high school party, crossing the backyard.
They make guns that shoot salt. For flies out of the air, shoot them bugs with that.
Any further comments, or questions? Commissioner Lambert?
Just appreciate law enforcement's presence today and fire department with everything that was going on with that. Just down the street from my office and could definitely hear a lot of activity. So glad everyone's where they need to be and safe.
Commissioner Nash?
I have nothing more.
Commissioner Melvin? Nothing from me. Now, we'll move towards adjournment.
I would move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Lambert, second by Commissioner Belvin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. We are adjourned.